The Lich, the embodiment of death, extinction, carnage, and ultimate destruction. The biggest, iconic villain of a show as bright and wacky as Adventure Time. A legitimately threatening, horrifying, and deadly force that counters everything the tone sets up. I think it's one of the biggest reasons why the Lich is such a presence in the show and one of the most iconic modern cartoon villains. It feels like the antithesis of the show itself, and that seems to be the point. The nightmare in the dream world of Ooh. And he certainly delivered, giving some of the biggest and most impactful parts of it, and helped shake up so much of it. A legitimately scary, practically immortal incarnation of death that feels unstoppable. But that's not all of what he became. People have complained about the Lich's degradation as a thread the series went on, complaining he became worse and worse as a character and antagonist, where he really felt like a threat as the series went on to the point where he literally became a baby. And admittedly, as I love the show, I do feel that is somewhat accurate. Did Adventure Time ruin their greatest villain? They take the embodiment of extinction, a primal force of nature, in a mystic Grim Reaper form, and run his potential to the ground and make him a joke? Or maybe we're just making up this narrative and the Lich truly was the greatest force of evil in the show. There's a lot to unpack from Lich's lore, to his story, and the amount of characterization and plot impact he had. So let's get into Adventure Time's greatest villain, the Lich. Also, can you believe I've now done an Adventure Time video for every day of the month? The real scary thing is I genuinely don't know if I can keep going. Also, yeah, Halloween. Of course I'm going to cover the Lich for it. And I worked hard on this persona design, I'm going to use it as much as I can. But back on topic, people say the Lich was just a design the writers liked early on and decided to reuse as the series' main villain. But that's not entirely true. He was in one of the early pitch documents in a largely unchanged form, where again, they are treated as an antithesis of the show itself, not humorous and treated completely seriously. Only a few attributes changed, with a slight design tweak and storyline of not being still in a castle, but in Princess Bubblegum's weird candy tree. Back on the topic of the show, the Lich makes practically a cameo in the first season in the episode His Hero, where Finn and Jake meet their hero, Billy, who became jaded with life as a hero, finding fighting evil pointless and told to help out communities in more passive ways which they can't do. You know, I would love to do an Adventure Time analysis video on Billy, but he barely has any screen time despite his iconic status and lore, which is pretty disappointing. Like, if you think about it, this is his only episode and he's only in it for like 2 minutes. But the show introduces Billy by showcasing his greatest achievements in his youth, fighting evil oceans and an AU Ice King, and briefly kicking the Lich King away. Now, this is the only reference to the Lich in Season 1, and he appears for like 3 seconds. And with the Lich's reputation, this kick is pretty impressive. Also, the location is weird as we'll later see that's implied the Lich was defeated in Princess Bubblegum's castle, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe it was a part of the older lore of the Lich having his own castle, so Billy at this point defeated it in his own turf. Also, fun fact, if you notice in this shot, the Lich had 2 horns, but for the rest of the series he has 1 broken. So yeah, Billy legit broke off his horn for the rest of the show. That must have been 1 kick. But we get to the first actual Lich appearance and one of his most threatening, the Season 2 finale, Mortal Folly and Mortal Recoil. It starts out with PB getting a vision of carnage from the Lich, and I'm gonna resist the obvious PB has evil machinations in her mind joke, but I won't hold back later. Actually, it's weird because nothing really hints to how the Lich is able to do this. Nothing seems to be a catalyst aside from potentially an implied gaining power in his prison thing. PB needs to make sure they're still imprisoned and gives it to 2 magic jewels he kept on standby to prevent them from being influenced by the Lich's magic. As PB takes them to a hidden chamber in the random tree of the kingdom, finally explaining the Lich is an ancient evil trapped in magical amber like an eldritch mosquito, who had a tower and planned to convert the life force of the planet to unholy power to destroy all life, but was defeated in time by the hero Billy, who pummeled him into the resin, acting as its seal. And this is so weird that this is probably the most lore and exposition we've gotten in this series up to this point. Again, remind that seasons 1 to 2 were barely serialized, and it was mostly just self-contained adventures in a magic land. There was no lore or story, it's just vibing around and having fun. Then the show out of nowhere introduces an ancient and ultimate evil sealed away threatening to escape that's treated with the utmost seriousness. It's so tonally jarring and sudden for the show to do this, but it is the very first time Adventure Time is starting to legitimately build on its fantastic lore and story. We haven't had anything like this since the season opener meeting Marceline's dad. I wonder if they should have built this up more in the season, because it pretty much just turns a 3-second clip in his hero to the most important and dangerous lore in the series. But it does retroactively make Billy seem much more important and a legitimate hero, knowing how important his accomplishment is. Even more than that he fought a bear. It's actually kind of cool. Like, yeah, Adventure Time is about to take things seriously. This was the first real step to everything that happened after. But in a weird decision, the snail shows up and is given narrative importance. If you don't know, the snail appears in every episode as a little Easter egg just to wave at the viewer, nothing more. But here, it's an actual important part of the story, where without protection, the Lich possesses the snail to release it from its prison. Wow, this amber was weak, allowing the Lich to escape.
Come along with me.
If only it was that easy. No, you gotta kick him next to defeat him. They escape as PB rushes through action to bestow upon Finn the Gauntlet of Billy, the only known weapon to harm the Lich. Well, I guess aside from his foot. Again, it's a cool addition to the lore that the one weapon he had during that short scene was pivotal to his success. But it also makes me wonder the hidden lore and relationship PB had with Billy if he theoretically saved her kingdom when the Lich possibly needed the tree to complete his annihilation ceremony, and he trusted her with his gauntlet before he retired. I'm actually disappointed to know we didn't. And they don't ignore the stakes if they don't stop the Lich before he regains his full power.
If you fail, you kill everyone.
And it's like, we got genuine stakes here. They're not brushing it aside or goofing it up. If they fail, everyone's dead. Even the characters acknowledge it's a pretty big shift.
This is our first fate of the world deal.
Yeah, man. We gotta shut this fool down hardcore.
It's arguably the show's first step into serious storytelling and maturity until Holly Jolly Secrets punched you in the gut. PB also gives Finn a special sweater for a ship teased, imbued with not the power of love, but liking someone a lot. Yeah, I hope you like it, kid. That's the farthest you're ever gonna get. But this touching moment gets ruined by Ice King, who does a stick of wanting to get with PB. Honestly, the subplot is kind of pointless as it exists to set up the next episode. Again, the last thing you want in a story is to have the attention taken away by characters who have absolutely no care about the stakes, which is something that every LSP episode needs to learn.
It'll work out.
Stop being so selfish, Finn. I'm the one hurting here.
Even the duo want them to continually piss off that they don't have time for it. Kinda wish they would explain the stakes at least with that thing is going to kill all life, we can't do this now. But I also doubt the Ice King would listen.
And Jake, please be okay. Please be okay. Please be okay.
Look at this, she is literally eating her own people and children. How do you think she's not evil? Which does lead to Ice King kidnapping her. Actually, it's funny to think that despite it being treated as a whole thing, Ice King only kidnaps PB twice in the entire show, only other time being in the intro of Ricardio. Not counting when he got her for patience. It's actually really wild to think about, but despite the best efforts, the duo can't stop the Lich before it reaches the Well of Power with this terrifying shot. Also showing that the Lich's lair is actually an old subway station as he revives the corpses of the dead passengers. Gnarly. Also, speaking of which, it's literally shown and implied that the Lich has this form specifically because it was the mutated corpse of the first human killed in the Mushroom War detonation the Lich used as a vessel. So yeah, gnarly.
Nasty. Nasty jazz.
But this does get important for later as the two do corner Lich just before they absorb the Well of Power.
Oh, God!
Oh shit. And Finn's jewel gets smashed, leaving him exposed to the Lich's mind control. And it's interesting because this is the first time we see the Lich talk, and it's probably the most intense and scariest part of the episode.
Aren't you cold, Finn? Aren't you cold? Walk into the well, Finn.
Ron Perlman really did have this unsettling, calm yet creepy voice perfect for a Lord of the Dead. Even in this part, it does retroactively remind me of Slade talking to Robin in Teen Titans.
Good, Robin.
You're doing much better than last time. A few more years of training, and you might actually pose a threat.
But Finn's sweater somewhat protects him and breaks through the mind control, also apparently being one of the things that can harm the Lich. I guess the power of liking someone a lot really is greater than the power of love. If he had the power of self-respect, he'd be unstoppable. As Finn uses it to try and tear off the Lich's face as he weirdly just starts cackling maniacally. It's really creepy until he straight up rips him apart. You know, people say that the Lich got more and more of a joke in later episodes, but let's not forget in his first and arguably most threatening appearance, he was killed by a pink sweater. Also, fun fact, but despite this is the Lich's most iconic design, barring flashbacks and visions, this is the only episode he's been in this form. Which is funny to think about, it does carry the idea that he's not a monster but an abstract entity. So yeah, Finn did it, he saved the world. Nothing bad can happen.
Free.
I don't think it's that bad. Okay, that's horse to a pre-season 5 PB, but this directly leads to the season finale, Mortal Recoil. They somehow fish PB out of there, like I don't know how, and rush her to the hospital before she dies. You know, this has made me wonder how the hell does her gum anatomy work? Ice King makes this all about him and gets punched out about it. Again, after the LSP video, glad to see a reasonable action. PB seemingly flatlines, but suddenly recovers, saying they're fine. Ice says he might have seen something from before, but Finn tells him to piss off. I have this in foreshadowing.
The Ice Wizard is a weak fool.
Yeah, seems normal for her.
Or Raggedy Princess can be your new Hambo. She'd do it too. That girl's got like zero self-respect.
But enough about PB. Raggedy's so adorable. Best girl. The two cheer her up while she's resting and picked every flower in the kingdom, no doubt causing immense ecological damage.
Oh, jeez!
Messed up from the accident, man. We just have to take care of her till she feels better.
Okay, I know you're yelling this dense as a brick, but you don't think it's worth calling the doctors? Is no one looking after the monarch currently while they're resting after a near-fatal incident? God, she really did make our citizens too stupid to live. Finn tries to express his thanks for the sweater that saved his life, but PB just asks to get some things. Paramount Butler returns, but acts like a feral animal seeing PB. This implies he knows she's possessed by the Lich, but then there's nothing. If you think about it, this really should break the entire story. He should be able to tell them what's wrong. Then again, he has never been the most proactive character. I mean, he wasn't even proactive in his entire damn movie. But we gotta engage in more Exorcist shenanigans, as P makes it very clear he doesn't appreciate Jake's song. Also giving us one of the show's creepiest shots. This show really likes melting PB, doesn't it? Jake is horrified and gets the hell out of there as Finn returns with a crap ton of toxic chemicals.
Ammonia, gasoline, I don't know, lady stuff. Plutonium.
Okay, I wanna know, where the hell in the kingdom he easily got plutonium? As PB's fine, as Finn doesn't believe Jake, as he forces Finn to see PB in a monstrous form using it to make another well of power, quickly warping into a horrific monstrous form going on a rampage. The Gumball Guardians get alerted. Wait, why didn't they notice the Lich from before? As the Ice King's still in the kingdom. Actually, wait, how have the Guardians never programmed defenses for him? As he said what he would have said earlier, that his wizard eye saw the Lich's essence went to PB, using her as his new vessel. Which does establish that the Lich isn't just a physical monster, but an abstract entity that can possess other things as a new host, which is important for later. The Ice King wants to help, but Finn refuses. He was the one who got them in this mess. But neither Jake nor the power of light get someone to lock and stop them. Which, I mean, that thing's power over the Lich wasn't explained. I have no idea how this is supposed to work. Which does make Finn get Ice King to subdue and freeze them. Well, until...
Okay, I didn't kill her this time. Everybody saw that.
Man, this school just can't stop dying today. But they apparently salvaged her bubblegum parts to Frankenstein her together? What? Also, from this point, it seems to have lost the possession of the Lich, which is also completely unexplained. And without any more pieces to scavenge, they are forced to make her younger? What? Okay, like really think about it. This entire last minute makes absolutely no sense. Like, how does any of this happen? But Finn can finally be with his crush after so long, which I'm sure won't be immediately undone in her next appearance. But it shows the Lich isn't dead yet, still having his essence in the snail wheel I completely forgot about. So yeah, that was the Lich's first appearance, and it's definitely obvious on how he built his reputation. Completely threatening, creepy, and nothing like the show has tackled before. Like, this guy makes the devil himself look like a clown. He seemed like an unstoppable juggernaut with his power and unkillability. Even when his body was destroyed, this moved on to possess and practically kill again a main character. And seeing PB possessed, who at this point was practically a goofy cinnamon roll, was pretty jarring. In fact, I wonder if her sudden character regression in later seasons could be by the Lich's influence, like this PB wouldn't try and destroy the Fire Kingdom. I'm surprised I haven't heard that defense of her character in the comments of my PB video. I mean, I would love to get actual points out of people just saying that I don't get the insane moral complexity of her character none of you all can actually explain to me. I know the arc was so complex that the final story arc had all the good guys on her side, all the bad guys against her, really made me wonder whose side was right. Oh yeah, the Lich, some other lesser evil. Again, this was Adventure Time's first strip into serious storytelling. I think it was a great job, even if things got kind of iffy at the end of Mortal Recoil. and Lich completely sells the ultimate threat with multiple scenes and his presence. But the whole defeated by the power of love thing does kind of hold it back more. It's something I do wish the fans acknowledge more. But the Lich is mostly gone for nearly all of seasons 3 and 4. However, the snail in every episode now changes to become possessed, keeping continuity. Which is kind of funny that the incarnation of death and destruction now just waves at the audience for entire seasons. But yeah, it is a reminder that even though Lich is stopped, he's not truly gone, and arguably never will be. But yeah, the Lich is gone for the most part until out of nowhere in an early season 4 episode, In Your Footsteps. And this episode is pretty much entirely filler until the last second, where this bear looks exactly like Grizz from We Bare Bears. Maybe they are the same character. Really looks up to Finn and wants to be him. And nothing really happens until Finn gives him the Enchiridion, saying it will teach him how to be a hero, acknowledging he hasn't really used the book at all, which kind of sucks for how important it is in universe. But then the bear takes it, revealing this part, which shocked the hell out of an 11-year-old me.
Did you bring the book? Yes. One step closer.
That's right, they're finally gonna pay this off, and the Lich is back, now with the full power of the Enchiridion. Again, this is what makes the Lich stand out compared to other villains, as there's no other villain that can get this type of instant suspense, even if you had to the season finale for it to pay off. That being the aptly named The Lich, where we start out with a prophetic dream of Finn with Billy in his cave and his presumable old lady girlfriend. What happened to Canyon? As the Lich Snail appears and uses a spell in front of Billy where he grows and attacks him as Billy's too old and is taken by surprise to fight back. Also, it's implied that the bear freaking ate and killed the old lady since we never see her again. God damn, Grizz, I expected better from you.
Hey, leave him alone!
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have. But Finn wants to try and save Billy as he says the one thing you don't want to hear when you make a deal to become immortal.
What? Why would I be dead?
I had a dream about a bear and an old lady and a snail. And you were there, and the snail killed you or something.
Billy then says he needs to enact his plan to get the gems of power from the other princesses, as Finn and Jake gladly do surprisingly all in one night. Like they are going all around ooh for this. As Billy shows they need the gems to unlock the potential of the Enchiridion to open a multiversal gateway that Billy says is going to shove the Lich in to get rid of it for good. I guess that tracks with this guy. That really doesn't make sense, but they need the last gem belonging to PB, who's the only princess actually awake, and is using this to commit atrocities. Look, when Black Cat, the CN multiverse's biggest and evilest entity, thinks that she's evil, that's really saying something. It's not just me. But Billy says they don't have time to explain the situation, even though they clearly do, as Finn takes a gem right as PB's terrified, revealing this.
That's not Billy! It's the Lich!
Huh?
As the Gummo Guardians, finally having a Lich protocol, attacks Billy, giving us another chilling design.
Nasty jazz.
Showing that Finn was too late and Lich already killed Billy, and not only that, was just puppeting his corpse as his new vessel. Luckily it was foreshadowed adequately before, helped that we don't really know too much about Billy. But that's also a shame since we knew so little about Billy before he died, and he really was a character with a lot of potential, and it was the show used him more. But now it's too late for him, in the show and the episode, as Billy goads Finn to give them the power to Enchiridion like a devil making a bargain, as Finn refuses and destroys it. Which somehow was the key to activating it. You really have to destroy it to use it, where the Lich is able to go through the portal to his destination, as Finn and Jake try to stop him, quickly following, eventually leading to the season 5 two-parter, Finn the Human and Jake the Dog, where the Enchiridion actually took them to the chamber of Prismo the Wishmaster, who gives whoever enters one wish. And the Lich gets in there before them, and was for the extinction of all life. So yeah, everyone literally just died. Like, the Lich just won in the first minute. I should wrap this one of ramifications for later, but luckily the two are protected in Prismo's time room and are unaffected by the wish, each having one wish to try and undo it, with Prismo warning of a monkey's paw claws in his wishes. With the liberation, Finn decides to wish that the Lich never existed in the first place, eventually creating a new reality named Farm World. Okay, to make a long story short, in this timeline, the Mushroom War technically never happened, as the Bonking Lich was captured by Simon as Ice King, killing him, but still giving him the crown's power, as it caused a new ice age that reset humanity anyway. Now having life restart in a much more rural state 1,000 years later with a new equivalent of Finn with his new parents and a normal Jake. Marceline also guards Simon's corpse, without the Mushroom War never became a vampire, but maintains a long life thanks to her half-demon heritage, which does get enforced much later. And Farmworld Finn takes the crown to try and sell it to save his family. Donkey from the Destiny gang who runs these parts is forced to wear the crown to use his ice magic to save his family after the big Destiny burns his house down. As Finn is quickly becoming the new Ice King, now Simon's corpse no longer hold the mushroom bomb, now finally going off and unleashing the Lich's essence, which now uses Jake as his new vessel, creating a new Lich anyway who tries to kill Finn. But luckily thanks to Prime Jake befriending Prismo, since he's such a chill dude, Prismo helps Jake make the right wish to change the Lich's wish to make it that the two can go home. Man, Prismo's such a bro, nothing bad should happen to him.
Focus, Jake. Here, eat this egg. It's brain food.
This also traps the Lich in Prismo's time chamber, which I hope he likes a new roommate. So yeah, this episode does bring the Lich somewhat more justice for when he actually killed an important and meaningful character, which is really surprising in a kids show, and does give him much more impact and identity as an incarnation of death. And he technically did win for a while, even if it was all off screen, but immediately Lich does take a backseat in regards to his powers. Unlike the last appearance where he was treated as the ultimate threat and got his hands dirty a lot, this Lich was a lot more passive here. It was needed for the Billy twist, which was impactful, but it did detract a lot from his presence, and he only really just wished to get what he wants, and then got reversed later. He did kill Billy before, but that was off screen, so it does make him seem like a lesser threat than before, but it was largely needed for the narrative they needed to tell. Granted, Jake Lich was pretty damn gnarly.
Hey, easy, buddy.
The Lich is absent for most of the season, until the opener to the next one. A pattern I've noticed is that the Lich is such a massive threat in his determination and power that the show can't ever actually make him an active threat for long. He's either imprisoned or in a very weakened state until he suddenly regains his power and then enacts his next plan. Fortunately, it is a necessary aspect of storytelling, as you can't have such a powerful antagonist as an active threat and need to get him out of the way until major story beats. That's kind of the case for most of the show. Season 5 ends with Finn completing Billy's bucket list after meeting back with his old girlfriend Canyon, who completely ruins the timeline here since he looks exactly like the flashback when Billy looks ancient. Like seriously, what happened? Did Billy age horribly in 2 years? But Billy's spirit talks to Finn one last time, now that Finn lived out his regrets for him, and says that he knows where his father is, the Citadel. As Jay goes to Prismo to ask what he knows about them in the next season's opener, Wake Up. The Lich is still in the time room but in a complete catatonic state, as Prismo explains that the Lich's primary function is to cause death on a massive scale. But as long as Prismo's around, no one can die in the time room, and he has no way to escape. He has nothing to do but wait, standing there, menacingly. It says a lot when even death itself is afraid of this guy.
So scared right now.
Yikes.
Jake encourages Finn to find his father to get some closure on his life, which Prismo immediately thinks is a bad idea. Explained it as a cosmic prison only the worst abominations of existence go to and are trapped forever, and they can't wish there even if they wanted.
I know you can't grant me and Finn any more wishes, so we brought Shelby along to wish on our behalf.
I wish for a pony from a GF.
Done.
Shelby!
Should have brought Nepter. Prismo says you can only get into the Citadel by doing a cosmic crime. Prismo reluctantly says that they really want to go there and need to bring a sleeping old man. So they go out of the time room and into a hut with the sleeping man on a bed fighting off his literal night terrors before bringing them back to the chamber, where Prismo reveals that he's actually the dream of the old man. Which I think is a really cool idea that Prismo is effectively a person astral projecting in a dream manifested in reality. It just works for his abstract design. But Prismo explains that waking him will effectively kill him, and killing a Wishmaster is a cosmic crime, so they'll be taken to the Citadel. But Prismo's willing to do it, especially since if his body falls asleep, he'll return in roughly about 1,000 years. And forget about the elephant, well, Eldrafint, in the room, as the Lich immediately goes to action and wakes Prismo, obliterating him before he can stop him. And then with Prismo out of the way, he then makes sort of a spell that straight up kills his body. Like, Prismo legit just died. That's 2 characters the Lich instantly killed. That's kind of insane. As he cackles in delight as he's taken through the Citadel with Finn and Jake once more pursuing them. But at least he let the Lich got imprisoned forever where he belongs.
Good riddance, too. I hope you rot forever, you awful jerk flapper.
Finn though sees his dad as the Lich somehow has a way to break through the cosmic crystal prison, burning it away with awesome black fire that frees the prisoners to make an eldritch army to kill the universe, including Finn's dad, as the Guardians try and stop them, but also in that the Guardian blood revives any injury. I would get more into the Finn and his dad stuff, but I'll save that for a later video. And soon the Lich comes back with virtually all of Billy's body burned away, giving us another infamous scene where he speaks using his mind manipulation on the duo, and this speech does deserve its status.
Fall. You are alone, child. Only darkness for you, and only death for your people. Strong, child. But I am beyond strength. We will sail to 1 billion worlds. We will sail until every light has been extinguished. I am the end.
Before Lich can kill him, in his weakened state, Finn tosses some of the really suggestive Guardian fluid, which does its magic as it restores the Lich's flesh in an ironically horrific scene as he's defeated. And after, you know, Finn's whole betrayal and amputation, nothing important, we find that the Lich has turned into a massive baby thing, which the two don't know what to do with and dump them on tree trunks and Mr. Pig to be adopted and named Sweet Pea. Now, I'll get to it in a bit, but let's talk about the Lich here. Admittedly, again, the Lich had a bit of a lesser appearance than in his first appearance, though it was more proactive when he was finally able to make a move and straight up killed Prismo, again adding to his body count, even would later be revived by his own backup plan. Not only that, but his chilling speech at the end and another fantastic Ron Perlman performance really did sell that massive threat level. And also, he was able to single-handedly destroy the Citadel somehow and command the abominations, though admittedly didn't look as scary as they could be. He is hurt again by how he wasn't entirely proactive in his appearance, unlike the first episode, where he was constantly on the move and did everything he can to get his power back and kill Finn and Jake, even if he did get close. And people do have a huge issue that it ends with basically the biggest evil of the show turning into a big, nice baby. But I'd actually argue it's the perfect way to defeat him. We know the Lich is a reincarnated manifestation of death and evil. Hell, even later this season we see he was literally a catalyst comet that killed the dinosaurs. He can't be killed. He is death effectively. Even when his body is destroyed, he just moves on to another until he gets full power. So the best way to kill an undead entity like this is to give it life. It's really poetic, trapping it in a new body it can't escape from and doesn't want to. I actually think it really works, even if it does effectively kill what the Lich was. And the show does do more with it than you think. And I do want to get more to Sweet Pea, but I think it's more concise if I wrap it up in 2 episodes. So instead, let's get to the season 7 episode crossover, which becomes really important in the long run. With Prismo's resurrection, he calls us to deal with a massive multiversal anomaly in Farmworld. So it gets retconned that every wish that Prismo makes creates a different dimension, so Farmworld wasn't undone, but it says it's continued as an independent universe. And something is preventing Prismo from doing anything about it, and since it's his universe, his unseen boss will punish him for it. So Icefin as the universe is in Kyridian, and wants to open a portal to the multiverse and could ruin everything, so he sends it to deal with whatever's going on, equipping them with new gear and a special weapon called the Maid that can decimate interdimensional entities. And they move past the fortress of frozen people, including obvious staff cameos, and Billy's alternative counterpart still alive.
Hey, what's up?
I'll get you out of this, Billy.
It's Bobby.
To see Finn's more transformed like Simon did, and just wants to help people in his crazed state. But Finn can't bring himself to annihilate his alternative counterpart, and neither can Jake. Before they can just take the Enchiridion, a controlled big destiny comes in with the last of the Jewels of Power. Wait, how does he have the crown gems if Finn's wearing it?
Big D's mind is back. Wow! I must just get first try!
As we see, the true puppet master was Jake Lich, in honestly a really silly form. I mean, what the hell is this? I was wondering about their last confrontation as Icefin and Jake seem to have a battle to the death, but apparently they allied themselves for some reason. It's also that Jake Lich has similar powers to Prime Jake, even though it can't be possible with the established explanation, so I'm just gonna assume it's part of his weird mutagenic power, similar to how it was when he possessed PB. As they're able to open the interdimensional portal as the Lich then tries to kill Icefin since he no longer needs him, with a pretty brutal speech.
Everywhere you will die.
What?
You, your family, everyone will die. Mountains of broken bodies beneath the wheel.
And then does the same breath kill thing he did to Prismo to Jake, which somehow doesn't immediately kill him, as Finn uses the grass arm, which I swear comes back way more than it should, to sever Litz's hand as Jake absentmindedly shoves it to the portal and literally spreads it through every reality. So yeah, the Lich is now in every single universe in the multiverse. Good job, heroes, you've ruined everything. But they're able to use the Maid to decimate the Lich right out of this reality and restore Farmworld Jake. And as one last act of goodwill to Icefin, he convinces Prismo to cure him of the affliction, which Prismo does primarily to explain an animation error 2 seasons ago, giving Farmworld a happy ending, at least for now. So yeah, the Lich in this episode was a change up, not only for being practically a new Lich, but also giving him a new body vessel, and have him actively fight the heroes for arguably the longest he's done directly. It's cool to see the Lich back in action, and again very brutal, but unfortunately due to the narrative was definitively killed off. Well, aside from his hand going in every reality, which really needs more acknowledgement, this doesn't even pay it off considering later it could have just done with one Lich hand, nothing ever came of it aside from one quote, where the Lich says that Finn has bested him in many worlds. Does that imply that every parallel version of the Lich is aware of each other? Weird. But for now, that's it for this world. Let's get back to our Lich. So ever since, Tree Trunks and Mr. Pet have adopted the Lich, naming them Sweet Pea, which that was like sweet pea, but apparently it's sweet pig trunks. What? The episode Gold Stars is their first starring role, and it's shown that Sweet Pea still sees the Lich in his dreams, where despite them being a loving and sweet kid about to go to school, Finn and Jake are terrified that Lich will unleash itself until proven wrong, and they leave before he gets to his first day. Which is a really bad decision. Like, I know for a fact that school itself is going to be the place where his literal demons come out, but it's the King of Ooh who convinces him to join him to do whatever the hell this is. For Gold Stars to get money until he wises up to it, as King of Ooh threatens to burn down his family's orchard unless he comes with them. And so, emotionally distressed and with no other options, it comes out.
Stop.
Oh yeah, they're about to get the Ron Perlman monologue treatment, and man does it deliver.
For your education. There was nothing. And before there was nothing, there were monsters. Here's your gold star.
And it traumatizes them, running away as Sweet Pea holds back the forest, just saying it's a bad dream, like how his parents comforted him. So yeah, even though Lich did become a new being, Sweet Pea, it does show that the Lich isn't gone and is trying to get back out, and that Sweet Pea might be a ticking time bomb, trying to force him to stay the way he is. But I think that really, the next important Sweet Pea episode proves a lot more of the meaning and potential behind him in whispers. Right, the Finn and Fern talk about their issues, Sweet Pea comes running past them crying in fear as the two manages to stop the giant. Where he says he's running from the monster.
The monster.
Was it LSP?
Oh god, I'd be running too, I am not going through that again! He says it's a monster from his dreams, and that's the only thing he dreams about, whispering bad thoughts, which terrifies him, thinking he's gonna be a monster too. So the two agree to watch over him, eventually finding the monster is real and was the farm world Lich's severed hand. Since it fell into every reality, it includes the Prime universe and has been tracking down his dimensional counterpart to urge him to evil. And the hand can still talk in this neat way, even though it's a rudimentary control over Sweet Pea, and Finn chases after it to what they say is the Well of Power, but it's in another location clearly, who managed to trick them near a ledge, and then uses shadow puppetry to make a fitting visual. Again, kinda clever.
You're so evil it's boring! You're basic, man!
Hey, I'm not done with the analysis yet, shut up. And starts another Ron Perlman speech.
I am the ceaseless wheel, the last scholar of Golb. I am your doom.
But Sweet Pea arrives and gives one of the greatest moments in the series.
I too am doom.
With the Lich saying that with him on his side, they are twin kings of ruin. And despite what it looks like, Sweet Pea could be a massive threat. Even as basically a child, he's a giant juggernaut, shrugging away any physical damage and being completely immune to the elemental assimilation from before. But Sweet Pea refuses, saying that he is sweet and he's just a hand. Taking Finn's sword and slaying the Lich, and symbolically slaying his intended nature. Even Finn is surprised and calls him a natural at slaying evil, and also relates a bit with his struggles with his father being a bad dude. And Fern might go evil, but nothing will come of that, I'm sure. Now, this is really important, and technically the last main appearance of the Lich in the core series. This is one of the biggest points of contention, that the Lich became a giant baby man, and also what made him threatening. I already said why I feel this was the best way to defeat the Lich, but people are missing something important. Sweet Pea is not the Lich. Sweet Pea may be made from the Lich, but has shown more and more of these as his own being and attitude that mirrors many people in the actual show, struggling with their innate nature and what they are expected to be. Sweet Pea has his own independent thoughts, emotion, and history, and he gets to be thought as the Lich's reincarnation and actively refuses it. You need to remember, Sweet Pea isn't just the Lich, but he's also partially made from Billy, the hero giant who saved the world and fought and defeated the Lich himself. Finn even acknowledges Sweet Pea is a natural at this. Sweet Pea is a creation of pure heroism and villainy, and many people forget that. Sweet Pea embodies a key aspect of the show, dealing with personal identity and what makes a person, fighting their eternal demons that make a huge chunk of the entire cast struggles, and he's no different. In a different circumstance, sure, he could have gone into his evil side and become the new vessel of ultimate evil, but he wasn't raised that way. He was raised with love by his parents, who taught him right and wrong, who comforted him when dealing with these issues and helped him stifle down what he truly is. And as Finn is an inspiration as well. Sweet Pea rejecting his true nature and actively slaying it shows exactly that he is not the Lich, and he is strong enough to move past what he might have been before. And those principles have truly stayed throughout the show, where he enjoys and loves his life and others in a way his previous form never could, saving his parents from an abomination, and so that even 1,000 years in the future, where he is given an extended life, he is not giving in to this temptation. Maybe one day, but not yet. And wielding the Knight's Sword that was made to seal horrific evil, so he's potentially a hero himself in this regard. I think this is a true way to defeat the Lich, not by just lasering out of existence, not by destroying a giant monster, but by fundamentally changing what he is, changing the idea of complete apathy and destruction, and making him an entirely new being. I find it very compelling in that regard, and I wish more people thought of it that way, and I find myself more satisfied with this outcome. But Adventure Time didn't just end the finale. We do have some extras in Distant Lands and Fiona and Cake. This is big spoilers for Together Again, and this battle should not be ruined for you. If you haven't seen it, seriously do, it's so damn emotional. But I cut to the chase and only focus on the important stuff to this video. So Finn is trying to find Jake in the afterlife since they died at separate times. It turns out that Life and Death had a son, New Death, who was really emo and angsty and then straight up kills his dad Death. And so that if you kill Death, you take their place. And New Death has straight up now destroyed the Life and Death cycle, closing out reincarnation and getting rid of the other dead worlds where the souls reside and trapping them in the first dead world, aka Hell. Well, Hell does not the Nightosphere. But the duo work together to confront him and use a spell to stun him, but soon find that New Death wasn't working alone. He was being influenced by the Lich's hand as his literal right hand.
Finally dead, aren't you, child?
I was wondering how the hell he got to the underworld. I thought it was that whole Lich's every reality ever, but I was hearing it was because Sweepy killed it in whispers so it would end up here. Now I don't know how to feel about it since I can't actually imagine the Lich as something with a soul. Then again, he did get reincarnated as a Catalyst Comet, so maybe he does. So the Lich, even dead, is a threat to the universe, having worked its way to the top of the underworld and stopping the reincarnation of souls altogether. This guy seriously just doesn't quit.
Just let it go, man.
Unfortunately, it's less of a fight here, and it's actually Finn and Jake fighting each other as both know that whoever deals the final blow had to take the role as death for all eternity, and the other refuses to let the other make that sacrifice. It's actually really interesting and compelling, and it hurts almost as hard as Jake kicking Finn's nuts.
You don't got the boing line.
Someone got hit in the boing lines. Hit in the boing lines. Boing lines. Boing lines. Somebody got hit in them.
But Mr. Fox randomly does the final blow, saving us from this moral conundrum. As Lich tries to weasel his way to New Death's graces, Jake leads him away. Wait, why the hell are you doing that? He's gonna come back and start more stuff. Get rid of him, actually. This bothers me because they introduced a bottomless pit in the movie. I thought they would throw the Lich in there, but no, they don't. It's right there. But yeah, fitting that Finn and Jake have one more battle against the Lich, who does so that even in death, he will never stop his goal of decimating life, and technically again did succeed. But it's diminished by his screen time as a twist villain, and not exactly being active in this state. It does bother me it doesn't have a fitting demise. Once again, it is up as one last final hurrah for the hero's journey. But that's not the end of the show. There is Fiona and Cake, and you can't have a story this big without the Lich. Again, with the fact that the Lich is in every universe now, it's obvious he's going to show up in a multiversal story. Well, that Lich actually doesn't. Again, what's the point? Now, the Lich does have minor appearances throughout some of the dimensions if you focus enough, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for Jerry. The trio are stuck in the last universe they were able to get to find the Ice King crown to turn Simon back to Ice King so Duke can have the magic world back. However, this ooze mysteriously dead in all desert, as if all life was destroyed. The treehouse is dead, the Ice Kingdom all melted, the Candy Kingdom's in decay, which is already a red flag. But Bimo is the only sapient being left, and he said that everyone's turned to skeletons one day, and has been covered with the sudden destruction of all life, only mentioning Jerry, his friend who lives nearby. But this is Bimo we're talking about. They're in their world so much they like to pretend to be other people now, even pretending to still be his old friends to cope. But eventually, even Bimo gave way to the dimension inevitably, as he too died trying to help out the group to get out of this world. As the three go to the lair to see who Jerry is.
Oh, look! Jerry's real!
Run!
As the Lich uses his spells to incapacitate the heroes, but instead of killing them, they say,
This wizard, so you have risen again. In olden days, I would have rewarded your insolence with death 1,000-fold.
As Simon says he thinks they're safe and that the Lich is actually depressed, we're the easiest to use him as a magical power source without objection. And this is a really interesting insight to the Lich. While not explicitly said in the episode, it's clear this was the Lich's original wish all the way back in Season 5, wishing for the extinction of all life. This is what that wish was. The Lich won, all life in this dimension is destroyed, and by the rules of crossover, that means this is the main timeline, and the other universe is an alternative path where everyone lived. And yet, The Lich isn't happy. He did his task, and now is left with nothing to do. No goal, just to exist in a truly empty world, waiting so long with some of his stolen bodies rotting away. Ironic how even if he won or lost, he would be in the same situation, practically catatonic in a situation where he can't create new death. Even to the point that he can't bring himself to kill when the opportunity arises, because it's going to lead to the same thing. A true hell of his own creation. And it's a really interesting insight to the Lich that does beg the question of what if he succeeded. And luckily isn't overt enough to ruin them. Until the next episode. Yeah, this one is just... no? So they end up finding Betty Gulb, and Sion wakes up before he can put on the crown and see the Lich praying to Gulb like a god. Proclaiming for eons he studied their ways and devoted their existence to them, killing in their honor, but after they succeeded they felt no satisfaction, having no purpose, now demanding answers of why and what he wants from him. And no, just no, this is not the Lich. Reframing everything the Lich did as a follower of Gulb completely negates everything we know about him. The Lich is a primordial reincarnation of death and destruction. He doesn't cause carnage because he wants to, it's because he has to. As Prismo said, he is almost like a machine, constantly needing to find a way to end all life like it's his purpose. Without it, he's completely catatonic until possibility arises. That doesn't work at all if the Lich can just choose not to be. Something tells me this stems from that one vague Scholar of Gulb line, which this and Whispers only share one writer. I just figure that he studied or learned from Gulb during the primordial time of monsters and potentially learned some of his dark magic from there. Not that he's a massive simp for the Red Triangle, baby, and did literally all of this just to impress him. And then it's complained that doing all of this didn't make him happy. This doesn't work at all. It's not that the Lich is incapable of emotions. People say that, but he has his moments. Cackling in glee when achieving victory, surprise when his plans fall apart, dismay. He's not just an emotionless skeleton. But this undermines the Lich's entire character, and everything he did just makes it look completely pathetic. And it truly did ruin what made the Lich a threatening antagonist. Get the f out of here and get Tetrised. And it sucks that this is the last appearance of the Lich, but at least he's probably going to come back in the next season. So that was the Lich, Adventure Time's greatest villain. And it's weird that they both live up and yet don't exactly live up to their potential. And I can kind of see why people continually think they got worse and worse as a character. He started as one of the sudden and biggest threats in the series that completely turned the show on its head, with a massive existential threat for the season 1 finale. We had to go hand to hand before the worst case scenario, and even after its death it took over and corrupted one of the main characters, leading to their near death. It's quite the first impression. But the Lich has become more passive ever since, even they did quite a few achievements, even killing characters like Billy and Prismo. But it lost more and more of its edge as the impact and conflicts became much more separated. Because as Wizard to get rid of all life or doing a spell to break out a bunch of abominations, he said a lead. It doesn't have that same effect, but it's not like it's not there. The stakes and impact are still felt. There's a reason why so many finales or premieres are about Lich plots. And they still have their moments of impact, especially with the chilling Ron Perlman speeches. I do think they deserve a bit more credit than they get later. I do feel a lot of that is that people were disappointed with how Lich became Sweet Pea and no longer a villain, but I already went over how it really does work in the narrative, being the best way to truly defeat the Lich, changing it into his complete opposite, and that Sweet Pea shouldn't be just thought of as the Lich, but as his own character who fights against him internally. Like, you really gotta separate them, honestly. I'd only argue once was the Lich truly ruined as a character, and that was the most recent appearance. The spirit of Lich has been kept during most of his appearances, and even when they changed it up, they explored more themes the show is known for, creating a new interesting internal conflict that I felt deserves more appreciation. It's weird because I'm both agreeing and disagreeing with the main consensus here, where it did technically diminish more and more as a threat, but I wouldn't argue became a more pathetic villain, at least the way people treat them as. You gotta evolve your antagonists if you want to keep them interesting, and you understand what they were going for. An embodiment of ultimate evil that never really has a true form, and will always inevitably come back to torment our heroes. And is always going to ensure massive stakes to take the show to the next level. And you really can't get a better antagonist for a show like Adventure Time, and it's no doubt why he became so iconic and memorable, and deserves the role as the most evil and unholy character in this entire series. Oh, am I kidding? Still that goddamn deer. What the hell was that thing?
Free deer!
I am death.
Death? We don't want any.